going to win outright. But should those 3 extra days of ballots matter, we believe will prevail at the Supreme Court.
And Joe Biden this morning feeling confident he will win once the votes are counted.
Every vote must be counted. No one's going to take our democracy away from us. I know this won't be easy. I'm not naive, but I also know this as well. To make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as enemies. We are not enemies. What brings us together as Americans is so much stronger than anything that can tear us apart.
So what's the bottom line? If Joe Biden holds his lead in Arizona and Nevada, he wins, and Pennsylvania won't matter. But for President Trump to win, he needs Pennsylvania with a combo of several other states.
In Arizona, Trump supporters were gathering outside the Elections Department in Phoenix. Some were chanting they wanted to get inside the building. Sheriff's deputies have been on that scene. ABC's Whit Johnson is there with more on the vote count.
Mona and Kenneth, Joe Biden is still maintaining that slight lead here in the state of Arizona, but both campaigns are kind of working their mathematical jujitsu to try to get a grip on the numbers here and find a path forward. Let's take a step back and talk about what everybody's waiting on here in the state of Arizona. Hundreds of thousands of absentee ballots. Now, these are not ballots that were sent in early as part of the early voting here in the state. Instead, these were ballots that voters dropped off in person either on election day or the weekend prior. The Biden campaign says, look, if most of these ballots are coming from Maricopa County, this is a county that has started to lean to the left in recent years, and in this election, Joe Biden has been outperforming Donald Trump in this county. So they like the numbers and the odds for them. For the Republicans, they point to the fact that if people were dropping off their ballots on election day, they felt as though they were going to have a higher election day turnout and outnumber Biden's supporters by a ratio of 4-1. So both campaigns are trying to work the numbers and find that path forward. A lot at stake here in the state of Arizona. Kenneth, Mona?
You're right about that. Thank you. Appreciate it, Whit. And we turn now to the legal battles that could decide this election.
ABC's Andrew Fujii has that angle of the story for us.
This morning, a legal fight just beginning in the battlegrounds. The Trump campaign filing a stack of lawsuits amid a tense race for the White House, with mail-in ballots taking center stage.
This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court.
In Michigan, the president's team filing suit to stop ballot counting. The campaign also claiming it has not been provided meaningful access to several counting locations. In Wisconsin, the Trump team demanding a recount. Trump's campaign manager claiming in a statement that there are serious doubts about the validity of the results. In Georgia, where the president was slightly ahead overnight, his team is seeking to order Chatham County to store and account for all ballots received after the polls closed.
The legal strategy seems to boil down to this: stopping the count in places where Donald Trump is ahead, Pennsylvania, continuing to count or counting again in places where he is behind.
But the biggest legal battle brewing is in Pennsylvania, where it could be Friday before all the votes are counted. The Keystone State already in a legal fight with Republican leaders over the decision to allow ballots mailed on or before Election Day to be counted if they arrive by Friday. The Trump campaign said it sued to temporarily stop the vote count in Pennsylvania over what it calls a lack of transparency.
These attempts to subvert the democratic process are simply disgraceful.
Just hours after the polls closed Tuesday, the president defiantly declared victory.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Trump doubling down on that declaration on Twitter Wednesday. We have claimed for electoral vote purposes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which won't allow legal observers, the state of Georgia, and the state of North Carolina, each one of which has a big Trump lead. Additionally, we hereby claim the state of Michigan, adding that Michigan saw, quote, a large number of secretly dumped ballots, as has been widely reported. That claim flagged by Twitter as misleading. Even the Senate Majority Leader took issue with the president.
Claiming you win the election is different from finishing the counting.
Despite the campaign's legal push, experts say it's unlikely to have a serious impact.
You need to have a legal argument to go to the Supreme Court.
If it came down to one state and there was one count and it was all coming down to that, that's where a lawsuit could really make or break the entire election.
Republicans have also launched legal challenges in Nevada over absentee ballots. 85% of the vote has already been counted there. State law allows for the defeated candidate to ask for a recount, no matter what. Kenneth, Mona.
Andrea, thank you. Coming up, the politics of this election battle.
Our political contributors from both sides of the aisle talk strategy. Next.
In times like these, the news-making events happen here. ABC News.
President Trump meeting face-to-face with one of the world's most brutal dictators, Kim Jong-un.
The president.
You trust him? I do trust him, yeah. I think he trusts me, and I trust him.
Ivanka Trump.
I have to ask you about your emails. Your father had taken Hillary Clinton to task for this.
There just is no equivalency.
So the idea of lock her up doesn't apply to you?
No.
Comey.
How strange is it for you to sit here and compare the president to a mob boss?
Very strange. Michelle Obama.
What do you wish you could tell your pre-White House self?
Melania Trump.
Do you think there's still people there that he can't trust?
Yes.
Still working out?
Yes.
Michael Cohen.
So he's still lying.
Yes.
It's a big statement.
And now, in a year with so much on the line, we're right there.
Good evening tonight from Washington, a very busy news night.
America's #1 news source, ABC News. Straightforward.
We all need someone who'll pull no punches and give it to us straight. No bull, no spin. Now imagine getting your news like that. Just give it to me straight. ABC News. Straightforward.
Another week in America, a country facing a new test now.
Wuhan Airport, almost no one here.
A lost flight out of Rome.
This is the nursing home just outside Seattle. Dozens of people were just rushed off this cruise ship.
This is ground zero.
It is shut down.
Another ambulance just pulled out.
Now they're headed to the hospital.
Time is of the essence.
You can see the ship behind me.
The first time tests have been done here.
Morning, afternoon, evening, late night, 24/7. ABC News. There for you.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, free on Apple Podcasts. The world may feel out of your control, but your happiness doesn't have to be. Learn the secrets to happiness. Listen to the 10% Happier podcast, free on Apple Podcasts.
Welcome back. Here is the new cover of Time magazine, an American flag, face mask ripped apart, and the headline, American Reality. And let's get some more perspective now.
Overnight, we spoke to former Virginia Congresswoman Barbara Comstock and Amanda Renteria, former political director for the Clinton campaign.
Does the Trump camp have a good legal argument right now in any of these outstanding states?
Well, I think the president's path is certainly narrowing, and I think the most important thing is we count the votes. I'm part of an organization that's bipartisan, that is focused on making sure we count every vote and soberly and seriously take this process to its natural conclusion so that whatever the result, people feel confident in it. The legal cases that I've seen thus far, I don't see a lot of strong indications of a strong legal case here.
And Amanda, this question is for you. Democrats were hoping for a blowout in this election. Clearly, from what we're seeing right now, the two candidates are neck and neck. In the final days until the election, we saw that the president was holding twice as many rallies as Joe Biden was. Do you believe that Joe Biden could have been more aggressive in his campaigning?
I think it was important for Trump to do that because that is what he does in terms of bringing a rally together. It wouldn't have made sense for Biden. That's just not what their strategy was. It wasn't how he was portraying himself as a responsible leader. So I think it would have been really questionable had he switched his strategy at the end, or really even taken that strategy throughout, given his measure. His message was, we are steady leadership. I have a plan. Here is what I would do.
And Barbara, let me ask you, now that it's 24 hours after Election Day, do we have a clearer picture about how the president was able to widen his Republican base?
I certainly would have liked to see him do more of that, but he did increase support from the Cuban community, Venezuelan community, Colombian community in Florida. He did expand in the African American community, so that's important. And I think with working people, he did have a strong turnout, and he just got more voters registered in a lot of states.
Should Republicans be concerned about keeping control of the Senate, especially when you look at Georgia and the runoff election that's going to potentially happen there?
Well, I think I feel confident that they will be able to hold those seats. Obviously you prefer not to have to do that, but I'm confident that we will have those.
What could have Democrats done differently?
For many people who have been hearing Trump's rhetoric over time,